Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. I hope everybody's doing well out there, huh? Hope everybody's doing well out there. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be great, and appreciate you stopping by. So, your Miami Heat, yesterday, Davion Mitchell was at Junior Heat Camp, and Davion had some interesting things to say. I thought talking about why he re-signed, and, you know, I like the fact that Davion Mitchell he's just very happy to be in an organization that lets him be himself. And I think that was something that was, you could just genuinely tell there's a comfort here for a guy who's been searching for a home and searching for a place that would let him be him. I really like that. And I think that, we've had so much down talk on the Miami Heat, deserved by some of the stuff on the organization. But this was kind of a cool thing because he was like, it's completely different from other places that I've been. And, this guy was a number 9 overall pick. He, got thrown into this Jimmy Butler trade for PJ Tucker with the Toronto Raptors. And which, by the way, great move. The Jimmy Butler trade is starting to grow some pretty solid legs. It sucks that Jimmy's gone. It sucks the way that it ended. I hate the way that it ended. But I will say, it's starting to grow some pretty nice tentacles. And Davion Mitchell, I think, was definitely the best piece of that trade so far because Andrew Wiggins, with the injuries, the inconsistency with the role, all that type of stuff, maybe the expectations being too high on him. I think that Davion really was like a bright light in a turd of a season, And, he was throwing the praise on Spo. He was like, I think he's one of the greatest coaches of all time, loves learning from him, loves getting better from him, loves being with his teammates, just a lot of positivity. And it was just a good vibe to hear. And no disrespect to Simone Fontecchio, which his accent is delightful, and I can't, wait to see him in Eurobasket. The Heat are taking over Eurobasket with Fontecchio, Pelle Larsson. I don't think you guys are ready for what Pelle Larsson's going to do for Sweden. What he's doing for Summer League. Imagine what he does for Sweden, dude. And of course, Jokić, dude. I can't wait for that. But Davion Mitchell also was talking about the idea that, hey, the team, I really believe that last year was hard. We didn't have any chemistry. We didn't know each other. This is basically what we did was make the playoffs, went through some real ruts, but didn't know each other. And he does think that the training camp thing is going to be real. He thinks, he says it's going to be good for me and just the chemistry that we could build. We won a couple of games. We even made the playoffs with very little chemistry, especially with the injuries, just getting traded down here. We didn't really know how to gel with one another. I feel like we kind of figured it out a little bit. But to have a training camp with one another and just go at each other, learn from one another, and spend time outside of basketball with each other, I think is going to build a lot of team chemistry. And we'll see. Like, hey, we thought that with Terry Rozier. Not that I'm saying Davion Mitchell is going to be with Terry Rozier, but we thought that Terry Rozier was going to come here with more chemistry, and just didn't work out. So it doesn't always work out, the more chemistry thing, the continuity thing. It doesn't always work out. But I don't feel like Davion Mitchell is going to fall victim to that just because he just seems like he's going to do the right things about winning. I am curious to see if the shooting can hold up this year. But even like today, I talked a little bit about this in the Summer League recap, but if you guys didn't watch it because you're not into Summer League, I liked the idea that he said that he's letting Kaspar's Jokić have some time because he thinks a lot of people are near, but he is going to make time to speak to the Heat's first round pick, who is going through some real growing pains. And I think it's going to be good to hear it from somebody who's been in his shoes before as a high draft pick with an organization. And, certainly that organization didn't stick it out with him. So I think that's going to be a great thing and already kind of shows the leadership that Davion is bringing to the table. I love to hear all that, but not surprised. The dude just seems like he's about basketball and the right things. She was in the gym 2 weeks after. Look, there's no surprise that he re-signed with the Miami Heat. because the guy was basically like, it seemed like living in the arena. after the season ended. It's like, 2 weeks later, who's there already working out? Davion Mitchell. Who's out there walking around Miami in a Heat jersey? Davion Mitchell. So I just like I like the things that he's an easy guy to root for, and so hearing that stuff was really, really cool. In NBA news, the basketball world, of course, learned that Nikola Jokić, a.k.a. the Joker, 3-time MVP, beat the Miami Heat for the NBA championship in 5 games. Very good player. If you have not heard of him, you guys should check him out. He did not informed the Denver Nuggets that he is not signing his extension with the Denver Nuggets this summer. And look, we can throw the whale thing out the window, okay? Because this dude, I don't think he likes the sea. We know what that he does like, though. He loves a beautiful thoroughbred with some fantastic hooves. So the Miami Heat, they got to find them their finest steed. Do whatever they got to do. And see what we could do to ride on out and see, is there going to be, is the Joker and his horses, are they looking for a new pasture possibly in the summer? Now, I know what everybody's going to say. I already get the mentions. I love the people who, like, when you try and have fun on Twitter, I'm like yesterday, I'm like, Miami Heat, bring me your finest horse. And I love the people who look, he's just re-signing for more money next summer, bruh. Thanks, dude. Thank you. You're along with the same people who are like, you hit me with the, why do you say this after every player, Tobin? You always get her hopes. I worry about my own damn hope, and I have my own damn fun. If you want to come along for the ride, fine. But if you think those comments stop me in my tracks, I'm like, heavens to Betsy, I should have tweeted that. You're crazy. So I just want to be clear. Do I think the Miami Heat will end up with Nikola Jokić? Yeah, probably not. Probably not. But can you motherfuckers have a little fun once in a while? Christ almighty. The world is as serious as it is right now. If we're going to talk about basketball and we're going to talk about some fantasy and we're going to talk about whales and we're going to talk about orcas, can we at least have some fun every once in a while? And Nikola Jokić, yeah, he probably won't. He probably will sign for them for oodles of more money if he doesn't want to leave. Because I did see videos this week of him in Serbia at which, by the way, he likes harness racing. I don't know if you guys know this. I grew up on a horse farm. My father bred thoroughbreds and race horses. So I grew up around the ponies and OTB racetracks, especially in the summer times. And but my dad never respected harness racing. He always said it was too easily fixable. And I was like, what? There's a lot of cheating in horse racing. But apparently in the horse, and I gotta imagine, and no shade, but I gotta imagine if what my father told me was true when I was a wee lad, I gotta imagine the Serbian harness track. I feel like there's a lot of shenanigans going on there, but he looked really happy. And I'm just telling you, Joker, I don't know what the ponies are like in Denver, but Gulfstream is really pretty. And I'm just saying, dude, we have lots of horse. I mean, have you heard of Davy? Huh? Have you heard of Davy? It is lovely. I mean, you can get Ocala, just a hop, skip, and a jump away, my friend. Now, I imagine Denver does have horse, but I saw that. I was like, and you will. I don't know if you guys saw this the other week. That owner, that Josh Kroenke, he's Stan Kroenke's son. He's, I guess, running the Denver Nuggets after all their chaos last year. And by the way, I mean, they did get Cam Johnson this year. They did have to dump a first-round pick in Michael Porter Jr. Rats off a ship. They got Bruce Brown back. But I don't know, if they don't do well, is it crazy to think that the guy's like, because the guy basically came out there, if you guys missed this a couple weeks ago, Josh Kroenke comes out there and he goes, yeah, second apron, you want to avoid it because, like, you're one injury away from having to trade 15, and I don't want to do that. And it was just like, what he said wasn't a lie, but you just don't do it. You behave like the Bucks do, which is in denial. Even if you are going to end up trading Giannis, The Bucks act like psychopaths. They are like, we're going to break the salary cap to figure out how to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo. You just don't say things like that, right? If Pat Riley, who, eventually lost Dwayne Wade, but if he ever came out in the midst of it and was like, hey, you don't want to do that because then we might have to trade D Wade. In the midst of the peak of D Wade's powers, it's just crazy. So everybody's sitting here and they're like, well, this is the Lakers' grand plan. They're trying to open up space in 27. They're going to sign Luka. They're going to sign Joker. I got to tell you, I don't know how close a friend. I think they are buddies. However, his little brate, Nikola Jokić, Serbian teammate, already resides here. And look, Heat, I'm just saying, dude, I've told you got to make Goran Dragic the vice president of international affairs. I don't know how many times I've done this segment. Too many. But the world's becoming more international. This is the most international the Miami Heat have been. We got a kid from Lithuania. We got a kid from Serbia. We got a guy from Italy. We got a veteran from Italy. We got a guard from Sweden. This is by far the most international the Miami Heat have been. And I just think it's a department that we need to take over. I know Gogi was in Slovenia doing his camp. It looks now like he's vacation a little bit. When Goran Dragic gets his ass back to Miami, you bring him in and you outline the game plan. Now, we'll find out what ends up happening with Luka Doncic too, because the Lakers, maybe they combust. He didn't want to be there. It seems like he'll stay there. I imagine like when you're on the Lakers, it's pretty hard to pry you away from the Lakers. But he has said that ain't his favorite city. So I don't know what the Heat's plan is. I don't know if this is viable. It probably isn't. It's probably pie in the sky. However, you do have his little brate on this team, one letter away from basically being a relative. And, he's going to play for Eurobasket, has played with him in the Olympics. And so I'm just saying, dude, if you think there's anything in the ether, and those Jokić brothers look like they like to party down here. They love it to just sit. They never missed a trip down here. They're just sitting there, just giant and intimidating. Imagine them there every game, next to the lovely lady who makes the custom opera outfits, and then you just have Joker's brother behind taking up 2 seats because he's just so massive. He's the size of a wall. But hey. It may just be a formality. Maybe. But people who are like, oh, well, he's going to make them. Okay, perhaps. And I think when you're with your own team, you get to make the uber duber boop 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 max. So does anybody turn that down? I don't know. One of the things that probably pissed Luka off is that it cost him oodles of money. But when you're that good and you're that talented, they're going to make the money back in some way, shape, or form. So, I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, I was starting to think about like, hey, Mickey, start buying a farm, dude. Let's get after it. No seahorse with Carnival. We need actual horse. Why don't we build they got that lovely lot. Maybe you turn that into an actual paddock right by the sea. Horses love the sea. They don't love the sea. That's probably a bad idea. But maybe like a temporary one just to recruit.